All right, what's up, wrestling fans? Welcome to another episode of G.W.R. Gonzo's Wrestling Room. I'm Chris Gonzalez. I'm joined by Tony Gonzalez, like normal. Got a big show today. How you doing today?
Doing pretty good. I'm excited, ready for a big weekend of wrestling.
Oh yeah, got that big Bearcat Rumble coming up. Well, when this show airs, it'll be the day after the Bearcat Rumble. But yeah, got a
Yep,
big show this weekend.
yep,
Um, so I'm sure we'll be recapping that on the next week's episode.
yep, most definitely.
It should be a great show. We'll talk about for a second. You have Epico, Primo, Carlito, them three are all wrestling.
Yep. And
And
then
then
you also
go ahead.
also you also have Conga Kong. He used to be in Impact Wrestling. He's going to be there. He's fantastic to see. I mean, 6'7", 6'8", probably 350 to 400 pounds. Can move. A veteran, been around for quite a while. He's really good. And then of course, I know you can probably say Rikishi's going to make an appearance too. So outstanding show, especially I think all the front row seats are gone. They were $20, but $10 for general admission. You can't beat that.
No, no, it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a great show. And DCCW. I mean, we haven't went to a bad show. That any of the shows they put on haven't been bad. So every time we went, it's been a. And I think they've been getting better every time.
Oh yeah, and we said all the stars, but let's not forget all the DCCW stars. It's going to be there Dex World and the highlight reel, and well, Logan Myers was hurt; he got injured, but Dutchboard Platinum and JB and guys like that, many more. They're all fantastic. I mean, they're all really good.
I'm gonna say a guy just because I don't think he gets mentioned enough and don't get booked enough. Jackson Morgan.
Jackson Morgan and also Jordan James,
Yeah,
Rachel Armstrong. I mean, they got a incredible roster. DCCW does. A lot of them people also wrestle down at WCWO. So I mean, they got a tremendous roster and got real good chemistry. Put on great matches. So uh, not including all the big stars is going to be there. It's going to be a great show. It's going to be really good.
and speaking of JB, for the listeners that listen to this on Sunday, Saturday, the day before, we will have JB live in studio for an interview before the Bearcat Rumble.
Yep.
So if you're listening to this, make sure you go check out the JB interview.
Yep.
He's another one from the first time we saw him about 8 or 9 months ago to now.
Yep.
He's just on a whole different level. He's improved mightily.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
But we'll talk some more independent probably here later on. But you want to start with the this week's shows?
Yeah, ready to start with Monday Night Raw. Raw was pretty decent this week, pretty good. One thing that really stood out to me, of course, was Cody Rhodes. Uh, he opened the show and with the Miz in a segment, which I thought was really good. Them two played off each other really good. The interesting thing that a lot of people caught on to was that the fact that Cody Rhodes during the segment said said the word wrestler, which uh, Miz corrected him and said, "We're not wrestlers, we're uh, WWE superstars." And a lot of people, and then also instead of saying, he said belt, which Vince don't like the word belt.
No.
He said, of course, Miz corrected him, said it's not a belt, it's a title. So uh, they're playing that up pretty good. That he's from somewhere else and trying to do his own thing. They're playing that up, and then after that, he had a match with the Miz. He beat the Miz, and then after that, uh, Seth Rollins comes out and challenges him to a rematch at WrestleMania Backlash. So Cody Rhodes was in 3 segments on that show. So that tells you right there, they've got big plans for Cody, at least at this time. So uh, another interesting thing was he made his debut last week. Veer Mahan, the big Indian wrestler, big guy. Uh, he had a match with Dominic Mysterio and absolutely destroyed him. And then after the match, continued to destroy him and destroy him and destroy him. I thought
Yeah.
the segment looked really good. I thought it made him look good. Uh, I think that Mahan could be something.
Do you going back to Cody Rhodes for a minute? Do you think that they're going to go to a thing where it's Cody and Brandy against Miz and Maurice, kind of like what they did with Edge and Beth Phoenix?
They might. I know a lot of people think Cody's gonna. A lot of people think Cody's gonna get the championship at some point. Now, is it gonna be? Is it gonna be a? Is it gonna be two championships again? Is it gonna be one championship? I don't
I,
know if they'll keep this one championship or not.
I think he might get the championship at maybe SummerSlam.
It's a possibility. Because people got to understand, you don't the Rock, and if they are going to have a WrestleMania match, Rock and Roman Reigns, they don't need the title
No.
for that. So yeah, there's rumors that she's negotiating with them about coming in, so that could be interesting.
And
I think
honestly, I don't think Cody Rhodes needs the title. It'll make the story even better because of the promo he cut, and I mean the whole story behind him.
yeah,
It'll kind of like top that story off.
yeah.
But I mean, but if you get him in a good story with like the Miz or even with Seth Rollins, he really don't have to have the title for that to be successful.
Now, I think his program with Seth Rollins is going to last for a little while. We'll see where it goes, with SummerSlam, and they're doing a lot of big shows. Money in the Bank is at Las Vegas in an arena. SummerSlam is July 31st, and it's in Nashville in a football stadium. Then they're going September 3rd. They're going to be in over in England at a great big stadium. So I mean, they're going big.
Which champion do you think Rhodes will end up putting Rhodes up to be though?
I don't know. I mean, at this point, a lot of people says that he would be perfect to beat Roman Reigns. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I could see maybe doing something like that, but they'd have you'd think they'd have to be getting ready to start that program pretty. I mean, not too but far out. Less depends on when you want to do it.
You could start it at SummerSlam. You could start it in England. I mean, it just depends. I mean, yeah, that'd be interesting. I mean, I hope they run with them. I'm glad that things seem to be going well for them. It's pretty early on, but
You think this Mahan's going to be a big star for him?
I think the start's real good so far. I know they teased him for a long time, almost became kind of a joke.
Yeah,
I
because
mean,
they teased him forever.
it was about 7, 8 months, but
I wonder why done that for like that. Just,
he was really green. Both those
okay,
guys, there was a tag team in NXT, and they thought about moving him up, and both guys was really green. I think it
so
was just,
they were getting them ready. They were getting them ready.
yeah. They
Okay.
had him wrestling a lot on that main event show, which is in front of the audiences of Raw.
Which don't get me wrong, I think it's good to build like the way they kept showing them videos and stuff.
Yeah.
But it was just a little bit too long. But I
Well,
think when you bring guys up, it's good to have those little promo videos like that.
you remember the show? I know you do because you remember us as a kid, me watching it. Superstars,
Yeah,
WWE Superstars and Wrestling Challenge. They would build people, not
yeah,
quite 7 months, but it'd be 2 or 3 months
yeah.
that they would show promos and build stuff. I didn't. I mean, I thought it was a little long, but so far,
I miss
I
watching Superstars on Saturday mornings.
I loved watching wrestling on Saturday morning. The other thing I thought was good on the show, MVP came out and explained why he turned on Bobby Lashley, and that when he got there, that of course Lashley said that he run MVP and MVP was nothing. Of course, MVP fired back that when he came in, Lashley was in a program with a woman breaking a marriage, Rusev's wife, and
Yeah.
doing that, and he took him away from that and made him a champion. So I thought that segment was good. The rumor is that Bobby Lashley's going to be the number one face on Raw for a good guy, and Cody's scheduled to be the number two face on Raw. I think it's going to be
Okay.
reversed. I think Cody will take over as the number one face on Raw. Myself. Uh, the other thing that people was kind of giving a hard time on social media was the Sonya Deville thing, which I thought was good because if Becky's not going to be around for a couple months, she'll take a little time off. You got to have somebody to fill that space, and when she comes back, they're going to still. I think they're going to continue to feud with Bianca Belair. So having Sonya Deville come out to the ring and said, "I've got your opponent," and everything, and made her have her sign the contract. Now I'm going to introduce you your opponent, and Bianca Belair was waiting in the ring, and she attacks her from behind and takes her out. It was a good little story, and it'd be good for a little bit of filler for a little bit of time. Probably going to give Sonya Deville back a chance to come back into wrestling. They'll probably bring somebody else in for general manager, or just go with one person
What
general
you
manager.
what do you think about Ezekiel?
I've seen a lot of buzz on the internet about it. A lot
Yeah,
of people talking about it. I mean,
I've seen
his other,
pictures. I've seen all kinds of pictures of Ezekiel and Elias side by side.
yeah.
And then have another guy who said they were going that they would introduce. I was cracking up.
Yeah, his other character, because they kept stopping and starting, uh, got stale, and because they changed too much. Kind of like the Big Show did.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think
so
that character could have. I think that character would have worked if they'd have done something with it instead of keep restarting.
restarting, yeah, I do too. But I like him. I'm willing to give it a chance. I'm willing to give anything a chance. Give it some time. But so far, I got a lot of talk, and that's what you want. The big match on the show was the Usos defeated the Street Profits, and they won a shot at RK Bro. I think it's probably going to be at probably the pay per view, next pay per view, WrestleMania Backlash. I'm not sure though, but I think that's where they're pointing at. And what do you think? You think they'll have Usos become the unified tag team champion?
Oh man,
I
I
mean,
don't know.
that would really make.
Yep,
But you have almost all the big championships on SmackDown.
yep. But if they're I mean, are they going to unify these titles and just keep it as one title, or are they going to go back to having the two separate titles?
I don't know. And then their plan may be, hey, we'll have the Usos and Roman work both shows.
I mean, if if you have the Usos as the unified titles, I mean that does strengthen the
Yeah, it does strengthen that story.
bloodline story.
Maybe freshen it up a little bit. I don't know, but I know
Do you think maybe this is where either Orton or Riddle turn on each other?
starts to crack there. For something to happen, it's possible. I mean, I love them together, but could you imagine the feud them two could have?
Oh yeah,
Either one being bad guy. And in my personal opinion, I think Riddle could be the world champion someday, 2-3 years down the road.
I do too.
Yeah, I think he's good enough to. So Raw was pretty good. It was solid. I
Hey,
liked
wait a
it.
minute, you forgot one big thing on Raw.
Okay,
It's no longer Austin Theory. It's just Theory.
that's what I heard. That's what I heard. I kind of missed that, but yeah, that's what I heard. It's just Theory. I don't know what.
He
I
said
don't
that
know what.
Vince McMahon decided Austin did not suit him.
I don't know, man. Some of the stuff they come up with, uh, it don't make sense sometimes. Okay. You got anything else on Raw?
No.
Okay, we'll move on to NXT. And they opened the show, went right into the ring, and had a match with Solo Sikoa and Cameron Grimes for the title. I thought the match was fantastic. And of course, Trick Williams came out and interfered, and Grimes got the win. But and then him and Carmelo Hayes kind of attacked both of them. You may see a tag match there. You may see some stuff, but it was a really good match. Sikoa, I can see him moving up in the next 6 months or so.
Oh man, I think he's going to be a big star, and he's another guy they can add right. They can add right into that bloodline if they want to.
And the other thing is that his style, even though you can see a similar style, but it's also a little different too. I
Well, you
mean,
know
it's
who he kind of reminds me of? Umaga.
yeah,
But I mean, he's not as big as Umaga, but just his style and stuff.
a little bit. But he's real athletic. He's real good.
I love Cameron Grimes. I wish they'd move Cameron Grimes up. I think he could be. I know he's small. He's a little small, but dude, I think he could be a big star.
I think he would be perfect to give the U.S. title or they need to make those belts important again. I
Yeah.
don't know that they will because they've let him go so long. I think Ricochet's perfect. I mean, he can have fantastic matches. He on every show and he could carry it. So I don't know. So could Finn Balor. But in my opinion, Finn Balor could be a world champion. So, but the next thing, the show before, the week before, they had Joe Gacy, and they kidnapped Rick Steiner.
Yeah.
And well, of course, they released him, and uh, Braun, Braun Breaker came to the ring and said they released him and everything. Well, then they go to on screen and Gacy's there, and he's got Steiner's WWE Hall of Fame ring, and he puts it in a barrel of fire. And then later in the show, he pulls it out, and I thought it was kind of cool. He pulls it out and puts it on his finger, and you can hear like the sizzle on the skin and stuff. I thought it was pretty cool. Pretty cool. I think
Yeah, I thought it was a good segment.
I think Gacy's really good on the mic. He's not terrible in the ring. He's got the big brute. I can't remember his name right now. It's W is high on. A lot of people say he's the next Brock Lesnar. I don't know about that, but um, I think that's a good way to a nice feud to put Steiner in for right now. So I think it's interesting. Uh, then we had Mandy Rose defeat Dakota Kai in a real good match. I mean, I thought it was real good. I'm wondering if maybe Dakota Kai lost. Maybe she's going to go up to the main roster. I think she's ready. Uh, and they're using Mandy Rose to work with a lot of these people and be their champion and be sexy and try to get people to watch the show. I think it's working to a certain degree. So it was a pretty good match. The match, to me, probably my favorite match of all week. Uh, I know AEW fans are gonna be pissed off at me, but to me, it was that gauntlet match. I don't know if you got to see it, but
Yeah.
uh, and I'll mention that when I get to AEW about a particular match that happened last week, but and what it did. But that gauntlet match to me, I think, made the Creed brothers. They started the match. I thought that they told a great story. Uh, the Creed brothers first beat Mendoza and Wild, then they beat Briggs and Jensen, who I thought looked really good. Then they beat the Waller and the Indian guy Senga. They beat
Yeah.
them, and then they were finally defeated by Kit Wilson and Elton Prince, Pretty Deadly, who were the UK champions for about a year, and who I think are big guys,
Oh,
but
yeah.
but, but I think they could be huge stars.
I
Uh,
do too.
so I think the excuse me, I think the NXT thing is working. I I I, I think I'm seeing stars.
Who
I
do
mean,
you?
stars.
What are they going to do with MSK? With the other guy that was in that since they released his tag team partner.
I don't know. I mean, he's that really talented, but he's basically another Ricochet. I don't know if he's got personality.
I want.
I think he does. I think he does have more personality. So I hope. I mean, it sucks. I was going to bring that up at the end. When we
Okay.
talk about MSK and what happened to his partner.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
yeah, but it sucks for for the tag team and everything. But to me, uh, the Creed brothers look fantastic in that match, man. I mean, look fantastic. I think they're going to be huge stars. I think you can tell that they've. I mean, you got to stop thinking, Chris. A lot of these guys, Creed brothers, only been wrestling 6, 7 months,
Yeah.
and look how good they look. And same way, well, Briggs and Jensen, they'd been around for a little while, but and Carmelo Hayes, he'd been around in the Indies and stuff a little bit. But some of these guys, man, are really doing well for no longer than Trick Williams, for no longer than he's been in it. He ain't been in it very long, and he's good on the stick, and he's still green in the ring, but he's getting better. You can see the progress.
I'm glad they brought Pretty Deadly over to NXT to put like with against the Creeds and them because I think that's going to be good.
Well, you see, they're starting to utilize a lot of those people. They've run over several people from over there and using them,
I
which I
li-
think
I,
is good.
I like watching that NXT UK. I think it's real good.
Chris, it might be people don't watch it because it's on the network and
If you want to watch a wrestling show, everybody tries to say AEW is a pure wrestling show. Now, if you want to watch a pure wrestling show, watch NXT UK.
I think the purest wrestling show is probably NWA, but next would be I agree with you is NXT UK. It's probably the hardest hitting promotion of all of them. They still do some of the flips and the flying stuff, but they tell really good stories. I hadn't watched it for a few weeks. I watched the episode. I was going to bring that up at the end, but
Oh,
I
well,
watched, but I'll go ahead. I watched the episode this week, and they did such a great job of the 4 or 5 segments and the matches they had, telling me what happened in the last few weeks. It was like I didn't miss anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I know at one time Shawn Michaels was the producer of the show, and I don't know if he still was since but that's when Triple H was still at NXT, regular NXT. So I don't know if he still is. But who's ever doing that and putting everything, the video packages and putting everything together, man, they're doing a fantastic job. I mean, unbelievable. Yeah, I can't recommend enough for people. It comes on, debuts every Thursday, the new episode at 3 o'clock our time, Eastern, and then you can see it anytime. People need to start watching that show. I'm telling you, it's fantastic. If you're a wrestling fan, I think you'd really enjoy it.
Oh yeah, I enjoy it.
Next, AEW Dynamite. They started off with Penta and CM Punk. Thought it was a pretty good match. I agree with some of the people online saying that Penta had to slow down a little bit for Punk, and some people said they carried Punk. I don't know. I wouldn't go that far, but it was a good match. But again, it was just the match they announced. They decided that day to have that match.
Yeah, that's
No story, and I understand people with talking about WWE. Sometimes they wrestle each other too much, and I can't say that doesn't happen sometimes. But just throwing matches together, I think it's hard to get the casual fan. Yes, you're going to get your diehards, and they're going to love it. But if you want to build the brand, I think you've got to do a better job. The segment that I really liked, I thought was a segment of the show, was MJF wrestling Captain Sean Dean. Wasn't necessarily the match. It was the fact that they had Wardlow uh,
come
beat up
interfere.
yeah, beat up a security guard, put on his shirt and stuff, and show up out there and interfere, and it cost MJF the match. I thought that story was told perfectly. I think they're getting a lot of heat with it. I think it's going to have a big payoff, and I thought it was really good. Uh, Now, next to the next segment is one that I haven't got into yet, and that's Jericho, Hager, and Garcia in his faction. Well, it was them three, but representing their faction, the Jericho Appreciation Society, against Kingston, Santana, and Ortiz. And I'm just not getting into it, Chris. I don't. I think that they put Jericho with them guys to try to build them guys as stars, and it's not working yet. Now it's only been a month or so, but to me it's not got any heat, and it's not. And the fans still love Jericho, so it's hard for him to be a bad guy because they want to sing a song.
Yeah, I'm a big Jericho fan, and I said this on another show this week that that faction, the Jericho appreciation, it hasn't got over like I thought it would. I thought it would be a lot better. I don't know. I just was expecting more out of it. It hasn't got me like I thought it would.
And Jurassic Express from there beat Red Dragon. It was a good match. It was an exciting match. I'd like to see a little more storytelling done. See, that's the biggest deal with WWE and AEW, and we've talked about stuff that we like. One thing we talked about the other day with Hollywood House and some of the WrestleMania matches. One in particular was Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch. I thought it might have been the best match on the show, or right up there, and it was because of the way they sold and their facial expression. I think that's what AEW, if they would do more selling,
Yeah.
and people
Well, look,
people selling is part of storytelling.
look at
It's
McAfee.
yeah,
McAfee, Austin Theory. Look at that match, and with the Stone Cold segment of that match. I mean, the selling's what made it even better. It put it at a different level.
the star of the night, in my opinion, a star of WrestleMania, in my opinion, was Kevin Owens. You stop and think about what he did,
Yeah.
protecting protecting Stone Cold, the match that he gave Stone Cold. Uh, he was probably the star of the night, Chris. And the
Oh
selling
yeah.
that he did, the selling he did. Uh, who's a better seller than Randy Orton? I think
Yeah.
that's what AEW's missing. They got to start selling. I think if they would start selling and book it just a little bit better, not that they're booking super terrible, but I think if they would start selling and do more storytelling,
Another
I
thing
think
they got to do is, and we hear this said a lot in the independents. Every match can't be the same. You got to have differences. You can't see. I don't want to see 50 super kicks in a 2 hour episode of AEW Dynamite. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And we hear this talked about a lot in independence because you'll hear promoters in the middle of a show, a promoter will go back there in the locker room and tell them, "Hey, no more low blows."
Hey, we seen one. No more low blows. We also seen one. We went at the show, but it was still on a board where the promoter got mad and told him no more. I think it was DDTs.
Yeah, no more DDTs.
It's either DDTs or pile drivers.
It was DDTs because
Okay,
there was like 5 or 6 in like the first 2 matches or something, and he
said no, stop. So, but
no, we was at a show. Just a funny story for what I'm gonna say, but some of the other ones I'm not gonna say the show's name, but there was a show in like the first 2 matches. There was 4 or 5 of the low blows.
Yeah.
And a guy that was doing commentary with us, he's not a big wrestling fan or nothing. So when he said it, he didn't mean nothing by it, but he goes, "Man, that's a popular move around here."
Yeah. I think that was like his second or third show ever been to, So yeah, he did. Hey, yeah, that's true. But yeah, I think if AEW would do more, perfect example, Chris, if you seen, and you can say it, if you've seen one Young Bucks match, they're very similar. Yep. Jurassic Express, I think, is getting into, all they worry about is big spots. I mean, big spots, and they're all worried about the pop.
Yeah.
The pop's only going to last so long it's going away. If you tell a story, the pop don't go away.
Well, if every match you see 5 or 6 guys on the outside gathered up waiting on the guy to jump, it don't make that moment as big because you've already seen it in 3 or 4 other matches. And now, if that just happens in one match on that show, it means a lot more because you hadn't seen it the whole time.
I think it happens too much even in WWE.
I'm talking about all wrestling, not just AEW.
I think AEW does it even more, but I think WWE does it sometimes too much too. And there's the dive through the ropes.
Oh man,
every AEW, but also WWE almost have independence. Chris.
Independence. I was getting ready to say independence.
But see, that's what I was going to say. AEW is basically an independent show on steroids with a lot of money pumped into it.
Yeah, it's an independent show with money.
With money and pretty good production and stuff. But I think if you run a wrestling mind in,
some people say I'm crazy, but I'm gonna go ahead and say this. There's a promoter here in Indiana, actually a couple of them. If them two were together and had money, they could put on just as good or better shows than AEW because of their wrestling minds, and that's JKO and Mike King, and even and throw Jake Oman in there. If you put them 3 together and they had money, I think they'd put just as good, maybe better shows on because of the mind that. Because JKO, he's doing AEW basically on a smaller scale because he runs a weekly show. He just don't have that kind of money to get a big building and to pump a bunch of advertisement into it.
Yeah,
but look at the stories they tell every month compared to the stories AEW tells, they're independent.
I agree with you 100%, and I'm sure there's other promoters out there all over the country that's been in the business and know the business. I'm just speaking
about that. But I know them personally. That's why. There's other people.
But that's what bothers me, Chris. There are guys there. Dustin Rhodes is there. He sits with him with headphones on and stuff. Why ain't he listening to Arn Anderson? Why ain't he listening to these guys? I don't understand. And I've heard it said, Billy Gunn in an interview on Busted Open said them guys, including his sons, will not listen. They're working for the pop. They said that. Billy Gunn's there, and he don't care.
There's a reason. There's a reason why AEW hasn't grown more. They're staying. I mean, they get a good amount of fans, but they're staying at that level. They're not growing. And if the storytelling and stuff got better, man, they would get even bigger.
Chris, Ric Flair was good in the ring, but without his character, where would he been?
Yeah, without his character and his selling and everything, he wouldn't been nowhere. He'd been just another guy.
Dusty Rhodes.
Yep.
Hulk Hogan. Wasn't his wrestling? It was his character.
Stone Cold.
Selling.
Stone Cold. Perfect example. Look how long he was in the business and never got big until he got his character.
and his better wrestling days were behind him.
Yeah.
He got injured and injuries and yeah. So I mean, yeah, I just wish they would do a little bit more. I know, and people give WWE a hard time. Well, they want to build characters. They want to build characters, and hey, something's working there. I mean, and don't get me wrong, I don't want AEW to be WWE,
No.
but I think they could grow into a bigger brand and have more people watch. And I think it also would be more enjoyable if they would have better storytelling and more, especially selling. Cause well, I've heard some of the guys, that we was on a show with, and they said, "Oh, they sell." Bullshit. Very
Yeah.
little selling.
No. And like that match between Hangman and Adam Cole, that match could have been with them two. They should have been able to put on a great match, and it would have been other than the fact that it was like 15 super kicks in a row. They just
Chris,
kept trading super kicks.
let's call it what it was. It's Spot Fest.
Yeah.
Get the pop. Get the pop.
And them two don't have with their ability, they don't have to do that. Just get in there and tell us, do a match and tell your story. And man, that would have been a great match because both of them are talented.
I agree. Okay, Samoa Joe,
and they hurt Adam Page as a champion when he was at the way they book him.
Yeah, I agree. Samoa Joe beat Minoru Suzuki.
It's nice to see Samoa Joe back in the ring, though. I will say that.
Suzuki had the Ring of Honor Championship, man. I forget which one it was, but Samoa Joe won it, and it was solid. A lot of chops. The only thing about Suzuki, I mean, he's famous for being in Japan, but every time he's been on AEW, he gets beat. So you know who was going to win. They was going to put the belt on Samoa Joe, but it was still a solid match. And but then all of a sudden, the lights go out, and the former NBA player Sanam Sai comes in and they attack Samoa Joe, and Jay Lethal's with him, and they attack Samoa Joe, and the crowd in New Orleans pretty much shit on it. It didn't work. So I don't know if you've heard this today or not, but Tony Khan was on Busted Open, and he said that that could have been booked better, but everybody says I need to listen to people, so I put some people together and asked their ideas, and a 30-year veteran gave me this idea to do this lights out thing, and it didn't work. So now, why? Okay, why did he need to put the blame
on somebody else?
Whose company is it? Who does the buck stop with? Whose company is WWE?
Yeah. And who makes the final decision on production and stuff?
When things go good, Vince McMahon gets the success. When things go bad, Vince McMahon gets the heat. Why can't Tony Khan take the heat? I mean, I don't understand. And he's on Twitter arguing with fans, AEW fans today. He was arguing with AEW fans today. I don't. I tell you what, if anything ruins AEW, it'll be him. He won't get out of his own way.
It was the I agree. It was the World TV Champion championship that Joe won. But yeah, why did he even need to come out and say anything?
Yeah, I don't know. Well,
you definitely don't throw people that work for you under the bus, because then now you go out. Now they're not going to help you do. You know what I mean? Whoever he was talking about isn't going to be happy about that. They're going.
You know who I think it was? I think it was Dustin Rhodes. 30 years.
Yeah. Because JR's been around longer than 30, hasn't he?
Yeah. Arn Anderson been longer than 30. And he sets, when they show some behind the stage stuff, he's sitting with a headset on with Tony Khan. I think he's one of the main producers, Dustin is. He didn't say his name. But, so I don't know.
I haven't seen that segment yet, but I've heard a lot of people complain about it.
Well, and the other thing is, Chris, the New Orleans crowd.
From what I hear, I think they left. It was just too slow.
Yeah. Well, a fan came up with a real good idea. He said you didn't even need to have the guy come in the ring. You should have had him sitting in the audience, and then all of a sudden, think about it, him just stand up
Yep.
and be that big and point to Samoa Joe.
Yeah. Just pay,
Story,
paying
story.
the audience with the camera over to him.
Yeah, and here he is, this big dude standing in the crowd. The crowd would have been so who's I think that would have went right over with the crowd. Now the reason that they did this, or the reason they are using this guy, that Time Warner and Discovery Channel is merged. Okay, so they have TV in India,
How much?
and
How much is that merger going to affect the AEW product?
Bischoff thinks Bischoff thinks it's going to affect it a lot, but we'll see. But they've got India ties, and so that's why they wanted to bring the
Yeah.
India.
Because
Which I'm not saying it's bad business,
no,
but
just bring him in. Even if you just done like a promo video or something and had him backstage,
yeah,
or something. But
the lights out reveal when the lights go out, they're wanting Stone Cold or Undertaker or somebody, a big name,
yeah,
or Fiend or some
yeah,
not
somebody
somebody,
they know.
a basketball player who's never wrestled.
God, I've never. I mean, I didn't even know. I don't even know him as a basketball player.
Yeah, yeah, he never really played. Now let me ask you this: what if the lights went out and it came up and it was Shaq?
So
Would it
I think that works better because
he's known?
everybody knows who he is.
Yeah.
Now,
And
if they'd have been showing promo videos to this guy,
yeah,
showing promo videos, building them up, and then done the lights out, I think that would have worked great because you were people in the known when the lights went out, they would have clicked in their head, oh, this is that guy that they've been building
well,
up, kind of like that Mahan.
yeah, well, if it had been showing promos of him breaking stuff
Yeah,
or doing stuff, yeah, or throwing somebody around the ring and doing big things, but just out of the blue, yeah, it was done. It was done poorly, and he can sit there and say that, 30-year veteran told him this, but just the build, there was no build.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. You could have turned the lights off and done it that way, but you needed to build to that.
Yeah,
The only way you could do something that quick is with somebody that all the fans are going to know.
yeah, yeah, I agree. We already touched the next thing. My show of the week this week for me was NXT. I thought I thought it had the match of the week in my opinion. That's my opinion. I know some people won't agree with it. That's fine. I mean, it's just an opinion. It don't mean it's right or wrong. But I liked NXT. But not all three shows were pretty decent.
Yeah.
And I tell you, I watched NXT UK. NXT UK could have very easily maybe been my show of the week.
Oh yeah, I watched NXT UK. It was good, real good.
It's really good.
I agree with you. NXT was probably just a little bit stronger than the other shows this week. Because I love that gauntlet match, and I really loved the Sequoia and Grimes match.
Yeah.
The way that was a great match. I mean, man, that was
a perfect match to start the show. That was
yes.
a perfect match to end the show. And like I said, all the teams were really good in that tag team match. But I think the way they put the match together, I think they made the creeds.
Yep.
I really do. And one other thing about AEW to go back, because we didn't have a show last Sunday on podcast.
Yeah.
Last Friday night, I thought Rampage was really good. Might have been my show of the week last week, Rampage on Friday night, which is unusual. But it was because of a match. It was Yuta against Moxley. And Yuta took a beating. He bled. But the story was fantastic. It's been going now for 4, 5, 6 weeks, maybe even longer, kind of. And I think that's because
I'm glad you mentioned that because that was a real good match.
A real good match, but it was the storytelling after the match. I mean, it looked like they was going to beat up on him. He was going to bring it on. William Regal shook his hand. Now he's the member of the group. I think they made Yuta that night. They took a guy whose record I think was like 15-13, and they've made him a star. I hope they look at that instead of these guys putting them on dark and stuff and making them 16-0, ain't going to make them a star. Putting them in the ring and telling stories is how you make stars.
And with the bleeding thing, the blood and stuff is fine, but when there's a story to it, then that makes even the bleeding mean more than just to have blood. I mean,
well, it's like what we said about Hangman Page. His very first title defense was I can't think of the big guy's name. They feuded for 2 or 3 weeks and they had a Texas Death Match. Now he's getting ready to have it in the second match against Adam Cole, a singles match. They're having a Texas Death Match.
Yeah.
I don't understand the booking. A Texas Death Match, you should bleed. A regular match, I don't know if they needed the blood.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think they're doing the blood too much. That's my opinion. I think the blood's good. I don't mind them doing blood, but I don't think it should be on every weekly show. And it seems like they're doing it more and more. I think it should be more.
I think
big.
that's going to change with this TV mergers, because these TV mergers. Hey, everybody wants to get on WWE about that's PG and that. That might happen. Hey, that might happen to AEW. It's the TV networks.
Speaking of that, I just read a story. The WWE may be doing something crazy. You've heard of Game Changer Wrestling?
Yep.
And they've got a version of that called Bloodsport. I don't know if you've seen any of it. Well, WrestleMania weekend, the owner of Game Changer Wrestling was seen with a picture with Stephanie McMahon. There's a rumor that WWE's interested in that Bloodsport, and some people think another option to put on
the network,
Peacock. So they're interested in working out something. Now they asked that promoter about that, and he just said Stephanie come over and said that she was a fan and she liked what we was doing, and that's all he would say. But there's a story that they're interested in.
That'd be cool.
So that would be something different. Now, if I remember that Bloodsport, I think it's that guy used to be. I think he was in UFC, Barnett.
Okay.
I think he's the one that runs most of those Bloodsports. But you know who wrestles in the Bloodsports? John Moxley. So I don't know how that would go. Well, see, Moxley's contract, if he hasn't re-signed, it's up at the end of April or May, because he signed like May or June with and it's been 3 years now. A lot of people were saying there's no way he'd ever leave. Chris, I don't think he's going. I'm not saying he's leaving now. I don't think he would. But do I ever see him go back to WWE? I wouldn't surprise. Maybe he'll be back for only a year or something. I won't be surprised if he goes back just to end his career.
I wouldn't be. Honestly, I think at one point he'll go back to WWE, and at some point before them 3 guys retire, they'll reunite as the Shield.
And the reason I say he might go back is because look what Cody Rhodes has proved. He's got some input on what's going on in his character.
Yeah, he went out and proved that his character will work. And Moxley.
Yeah.
Can do the same thing.
Would Moxley be willing to come back if he's got some say-so? Because that was his whole problem. It wasn't the money. It wasn't the travel. It was I think
he didn't like the creative.
Yeah. So
he felt like he didn't have enough input in the creative, I should say.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's go ahead. You brought it up. Let's talk about Nash Carter. He was released for abuse accusations and racial material that was shared on the internet. So what do you think?
I wish the whole more of the story would come out, because I've heard things that go along with, like, he was the Hitler thing. I've heard a story on that basically it was it was at a costume party for Halloween.
Yep. That's what I've heard also.
I'm not saying that that's the costume you should choose to wear.
But Chris, also,
I think he's getting punished for some stuff that was taken out of context.
But also, Chris, that was done 6 years ago.
Yeah.
That wasn't done yesterday. He's probably no older than, I don't know how old he is, but I'd say no older than 26, 27 years old. So he probably did that when he was 20, 19, 18, 21, something like that. Younger people do more insensitive stuff. But 6 years ago, I'm not saying it's not offensive, but going to a party, or what if he was just shaving and he did it and somebody took a picture of it? And then and I heard the rumors is WWE did not believe the abuse accusations. From the investigation, that wasn't the concern. The picture coming up on the internet was the problem. But I heard he's never. I've heard he's never been officially released. So I don't know. I mean, but I feel bad for him. I feel bad for his tag team partner. I mean, they just won the belts back for a second time, so they had to be looking at him pretty good, both guys. And
Okay, and let's say it wasn't. Let's say that it wasn't at a costume party or whatever. He was just still. When did we become a? The United States has always been a country of chances. People get second chances, third chances, fourth chances. Now we're becoming a country because of cancel culture, where you don't get in there, where people don't get a chance. They make one mistake and it might not even be a mistake, but what other people think is a mistake or offend somebody, instead of being able to apologize and grow and learn. No, let's ruin let's basically take their career from them. It don't make no sense. It's crazy.
What I don't like about it, though, it don't happen in everything. It don't happen in sports. How many people's been in trouble for in football and basketball for abuse, and I mean proven abuse? They still play. The sponsors still are there, but
Oh, they've had players in the NFL that might have committed murder.
Yeah,
and still play.
You know, I just hate that this young guy, and I'm not condoning anything that he did. And if he did abuse, I think if he did abuse, whatever happens to him happens to him. But you know, but the picture thing, we don't know what context that was done. It wasn't like he was out marching in a rally or anything, you know. And yeah, the cancel culture's got out.
Okay, are we going to cancel Dave Chappelle because he wore a KKK thing on the Chappelle show?
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, you have to know the context.
Yeah.
That's what. And I mean, we know it because some friends of ours in the wrestling business are dealing with stuff because of one little mistake that wasn't ain't even that big of a deal, really, in the scope of things. And now and now look at him. He's been basically blackballed from the wrestling business.
And we know other people have been blackballed.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, I agree, Chris. I don't understand it. Yeah, it don't make any sense to me. I'm not. Yeah, I don't understand it. It don't make any sense. For a young guy's career to be basically destroyed because of a pitcher, and nobody knows the context or anything. I mean, I don't get it.
And you should be. I don't think people should lose their careers just because there's an accusation made. If you've never been charged with anything, and then, I mean, why are you losing your career because somebody accused you of something on the internet? Might not even ever went to court about it.
Yep.
Never went to court about it. Never been charged, but because somebody got on the internet and typed a message,
the abuse
now your career's over. To me, that's bullshit.
The abuse thing was supposed to happen a year ago. His wife or ex-wife or whatever she is posted on the internet, and then 2 or 3 days later, a couple days later, they posted the picture, which was 5 to 6 years old, and just I mean, it's what they're trying to destroy him.
And didn't another wrestler or whatever give that girlfriend that picture or something?
The report on the internet is that another wrestler who's been canceled, he'd been completely canceled, give her that picture. He's the one who took the picture, and so she could post it on the internet. And now she's deleted her Twitter. Everybody's attacking her too. She's deleted her Twitter account and everything. So
basically, this guy got canceled, so he wanted to cancel him.
Yeah, he's having success, so let's cancel him. I'm as good as him. I was a well, I'll say it. He was an Impact star, and he got canceled, and so this dude was an Impact because that's where he came from, Impact, and he went to WWE. And he's having success. He's probably pissed off and jealous that his life's ruined. So let's ruin somebody else. And I don't know his situation, that other wrestler, and what he did, or if he should have been canceled or not been canceled. I don't think anybody should be canceled. I think everybody should be taken each case should be taken at face value, and people should be either given a chance or not given a chance, depending. But like I said, there's the guy in I can't remember his name in WWE. It was in NXT.
Yeah.
Dream, whatever his name was, Velvet Dream. He
Velveteen Dream or something like that.
Velveteen Dream. His real name's I think Robert Clark. I know his last name's Clark. He says he didn't do any of this stuff, and WWE investigated, couldn't find anything. But it got sponsors started coming after him, and he said that Triple H came to him and said, "I'm sorry, I have no choice."
And see, there needs to be something done about people just getting on social media and running with a rumor or starting it, because there needs to be something done about that. Because to me, them people that they don't have proof and are doing that, they should be punished. There should be there has to be something to regulate that, because too many people are losing their livelihood and their career off some of it. Don't get me wrong, some of it could be true, but also it's a lot of rumors.
Yeah, how many how do you weigh it? How much of it's true and how much of it's not true? Because we know, I mean, there's cases. How many
Yeah.
cases? I don't know. You know, those cases where people are vindictive, that they're destroying people because they're miserable.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's people, but to me, it shouldn't be on the internet. In my opinion, if there's a case, take it to court, get them
Exactly.
prosecuted. I don't think people should be prosecuted in the public. Public opinion shouldn't be what. That's just my opinion. Uh, Next thing I want to talk, and we talked a little bit the other day about this, about Billy Corgan and the NWA, and where he came out with this view. And the more I think about it, I think it's genius. I think it would be really smart if he could get somebody to do it, that to put out wrestling shows in whatever 6 show, 4 show, 8 show, 10 show blocks, because people like to binge watch stuff. And then after you put that out for a month and let it be out there, then do your pay-per-view, paying off that storyline. I think it's really smart.
Oh, I agree, because people love to binge watch.
You put with no commercials.
For
If you put
example, for example, I know it's not wrestling, but how long was the new Cobra Kai out before you watched every episode?
I watched every episode the first day.
I didn't watch it the first day, but we done the same thing. When we sat down to watch it, we watched all of
Well,
it.
I'll take that back. Well, it was a 24-hour period. I watched like 5 that night, and then when I got up the next day, I finished the other 5. So
Yeah.
it was a 24-hour period. I watched them all, and they could do with no commercials. You could do a wrestling show with 4 or 5 matches, some stuff put in, and the commercials done in 40 minutes. So you could watch,
Oh yeah.
8 episodes, and then people are going, man, I want to see this pay per view. You basically build up your pay per view.
Mhm.
I think it's really smart. I think it's a good idea, and especially for a guy who has to think out of the box. Because I'm not saying he don't have money, but he ain't got that kind of money.
Yeah, he don't have the money to put in his product like the other companies do.
No, no. But I think it's really interesting. I think that'd be cool to see something like that happen. Uh, Hell, I'm surprised that I'm surprised WWE ain't tried something like that. An offshoot program that you aired on Netflix or something. Or they don't need Netflix. They've got their own.
Yeah.
The kind of last thing I had was, I think you'll find interesting. This week is the 25th anniversary of when ECW's first pay per view, Barely Legal show, which I know you remember that pay per view
Oh yeah.
because you really liked it, and so did I. We really hadn't seen ECW because it wasn't on around here.
Yeah.
Couldn't find it around here. But we watched that pay per view, and
Was it Dreamer? Was it Dreamer that went off the scaffold thing through like 3 tables?
yeah, 3 or 4 or
On
5
top of each other. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was a really good pay per view. But yeah, that was 25 years ago this week.
It sucks though, because I think there's a I miss like the ECW style, but nowadays with all the way people get offended easily and everything that's going on, I don't know if something like that could work like it did back then.
Yeah, I don't think I know Bully Ray.
There's the sponsors and stuff.
Yeah, and they that was their big problem. They couldn't get sponsors, and they couldn't get a good TV network. They went on TNN, but TNN didn't support them and back them, and that's what killed them. And money is what did them in.
Because
But
if they would have had the money with Paul Heyman's mind, if they would have had the money, ECW would have got. I think could have got huge because Paul Heyman. I mean, look what he does in the WWE. I mean, dude's
speaking of ECW, and I talk about Bully Ray a lot because I see his Broken Skull Sessions.
I heard it was real good.
Started today. Yeah, I'm going to watch it probably tonight or tomorrow or Sunday. I'll watch it this weekend. I
saw where our buddy Shane Kauser had watched it.
Yeah.
And he said it was real good and recommended everybody to watch it. But I was gonna watch it anyway because I listened to Busted Open some as well. And to be honest with you, Bully Ray's my favorite that's on Busted Open. LaGreca is all right, but he's too big of a mark.
Yeah.
Where Bully Ray will criticize, and he'll criticize, but he'll also give him compliments. I think he's more fair about it. He's more even-minded about it.
I tell you who's gotten better. It's Tommy Dreamer.
Yeah, Tommy Dreamer. Yeah.
Tommy Dreamer, at first, when AEW first came out, he was marking out, but now he started, and he don't give anybody real harsh criticism, but he give WWE a lot more criticism.
Yeah. I used to like listening to Mark Henry, but Mark Henry has changed so much nowadays with AEW. When he went with AEW, he was more fair about it.
I agree.
But now,
and the other host that's with on Saturdays, he's just 100% AEW. I mean, it's pretty much, AEW can't do no wrong. But Bully Ray said, look, he said, I understand AEW and what they're doing. He said, but I also understand that I was with ECW and we did a lot of the same stuff. And he said, I went to WWE and I learned how to do everything right. I learned how to sell. I learned how to be a part of a TV product. I learned all the wrong things that we were doing and learned the right way. And he said, bottom line, whether people want to hear it or not, WWE teaches you the right. When you go WWE, they teach you the right way. And he said AEW doesn't, Impact doesn't do it as much as they should. He said that they do it more than AEW. He said of course he thinks NWA is the best, not the best, but the purest wrestling. And I don't disagree with that. I think it is probably the purest. But I think Bully Ray is the fairest that's out there. He don't give a shit if he pisses anybody off. No. His time in the wrestling business, other than going out and doing sign-ins and maybe a match here or there, is over.
You ever listen to Crazy Cornette?
Yeah, sometimes. Cornette is crazy. He just wants to piss people off, I think. And I think that's why people listen, because he goes on these rants.
He's you know what he is? He's the Skip Bayless of the wrestling business.
Well, Chris, there's a guy, and I think you've heard of him, out of Cincinnati. He did that stuff. He'd been doing that stuff for 25, 30 years on the radio. What everybody loved, he was going to be the opposite, to piss them off. Yep. And people listen. His name's Billy Cunningham.
Yep.
Actually, I had a TV show on for a little while, but he that's what he was.
Well, look, that's how Howard Stern got big.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Now by most people he's loved. But before, I mean, he was hated.
People watch Howard or listen to Howard Stern because they wanted to hear what he was going to say or do next.
Yeah. Because it's never done before.
Yeah.
Because he was a pioneer. Yep. Well, we got some independent stuff we want to talk about.
Yeah, we got well, by the time they listen to this, Bearcat Rumble will be over. So, but the week after that, the 24th, so that'd be next Sunday. Not this Sunday, but next Sunday. So, is the Warrior Pro Wrestling.
Yeah.
And that I think it's 8. Right? Yeah, WPW 8.
Yeah.
And it should be real good.
Yeah,
The last Warrior WPW, they put on a real good show. If you haven't seen the Nate Matthews and Cole Radrick match off that show,
yeah,
you need to go back and watch it.
yeah, outstanding match. One of the better matches I've seen this year. When we go back here in a year or so, at the end of the year and do our match of the year, that's going to be up there as one of them for sure.
And
Really
if
good.
you haven't heard Blake Money Right on a microphone and seen him in the ring, you need to check him out. You can find him on there. You can find him at WCWO, DCCW. But he's one of the young talents. And another guy, the president, Jeremy Hadley. If you haven't seen Jeremy Hadley in action, you're missing out. Dude's intense. He's great on the mic. As soon as he comes out that curtain, he gets heat, and he has heat the whole time.
Well, another guy.
Actually, a lot of fans don't get to see it, but he's the same. He's that way all the time. From the time he shows up to the time he leaves.
Yep.
That's Jeremy Hadley. What you see in the ring is the way he is.
The other one too, Chris, Jared Kripke.
Yeah.
Everywhere we've seen him 3 or 4 different places now, and he gets the crowd everywhere. The dude's not a huge dude. He's not a big, muscled up dude. He's got a shaggy beard. He's probably 6'1" and probably weighs 170, 180 pounds. But I tell you what, his presence and his psychology, his love for the business, and his ability in the ring wins the crowd over. He usually has the crowd won over when he comes out.
Everywhere.
This is presence.
Everywhere. Not just at his home promotion. Everywhere.
Everywhere I've seen him. So yeah, check out Jared Kripke too. He's really, really good.
And another guy, Jackson Morgan. If you like just a big guy that's going to put some pain on somebody, and I like his character. I think his character from the first time we seen him and now has evolved and even gotten better.
Yep.
I wish we'd see him more at other promotions. I think he needs to be more out there a lot.
Well, and also all them guys that's in that black market are doing a really good job. J.B. and Logan Myers and Dutch Boy Platinum, and of course you mentioned Blake Money Right.
I'll tell you, somebody needs to get a shout out because we talk a lot about like Jake Oman and the stuff he does, but it's Billy Rock. Because look at a lot of these wrestlers we see, Jared Kripke, Jordan James. There's some other ones that we've seen. They've all been trained by Billy Rock, and all the guys that we've seen that from him or from Oman, you can tell the difference between the guys that go to a real training school to guys that haven't been trained properly.
Well, see, and that's one thing that Billy Ray said. He said there's people out there doing training and doing schools that have no business doing training and doing schools, and he said, and there's a lot of people that got a lot of bad training, and that, that's the thing that we talked about the other day, about why WWE may have switched up on some of the independents, because you get these guys who think they know everything, they don't know nothing, and they think they know everything. And I'm not saying they're not talented. I'm not saying that. Yeah. But as far as the wrestling business, as far as the TV product and stuff, they don't know anything, and then they don't want to listen. So they're probably picking and choosing. Like I said, they're going out and getting athletic people who know how to train. Coming in and busting their ass for 3 or 4 hours training ain't gonna be no big deal to them. They already know that, and they feel like they can teach them the business. It makes sense to a certain degree. The other thing we could talk about real quick, Chris, was the shows that we did last week.
Yes.
We had a show on Saturday and a show on Sunday. I guess do the Saturday one first. That was the Flex for Bubba in Jeffersonville. It was a
high octane championship wrestling.
Yep.
Great show. I mean, it was real entertaining.
Yeah.
You can find the show on our YouTube channel at Gonzo Sports Room. Go back and watch it. I'll be breaking it down in the single matches sometime hopefully tonight, if not sometime this weekend. But go check it out. It was a great show. There's a match on there. First time we've ever saw the guys. Chet Ripley.
Yep.
And was it? I can't remember. It was Lockhart, right? I can't remember his first name.
I think Blackheart. Aiden Blackheart.
Aiden Blackheart. Yes.
Yeah.
They put on a show.
Dog collar match.
First time I've ever seen a kid be used as a weapon.
Yeah.
In a wrestler show. And dude, he took that kid and ran with them and drove that kid's feet in that guy's head that he had sitting on the chair. But it was awesome.
Yeah,
They told a story, put on a hell of a match.
yeah. Oh yeah,
And
that was
I wouldn't
outstanding.
know, but then Mickey Midas and Jordan James get in there and just
Well,
they killed it.
we said it on commentary. We said, how you gonna follow that? And they went out there and put on a great pure wrestling match. It was outstanding. I mean, it did follow. And then you go to the main event, and I believe, of course, it was
Ace Austin,
Ace Austin and
uh,
wrestling, and
Icon.
then Icon, and then the other guy, I think last name was Chambers.
His last name was Chambers, but I can't remember his first name. And they
Uh,
put on a hell of a show.
a hell of a three-way match. So, and then right before that, there was a really good Royal Rumble, a Rumble. So the second half of the show was fantastic.
Hey,
First half was good.
who won that Rumble?
Yeah, I know it wasn't Mike King. it was Bubba, little boy, 10-year-old boy, Flex for Bubba. It was a fundraiser for him because he has autism and real bad epilepsy, where he'd have real bad seizures. He's already had 3 brain surgeries. Going to have a couple more. They have to go to Texas, I think Dallas, Texas.
People, this kid would have like 30-minute long surgeries, like and
Seizures.
or seizures. I mean, seizures all the time.
Yeah.
Now they've done a couple brain surgeries, and I think they said they got it down to what, like 9 or 10 minutes.
7, 8, 9 minutes, yeah. And they're
And
hoping
they're hoping this is going to take care of it. So, uh, if you want to support him, you can go to the High Octane Championship Wrestling page. They have a PayPal on there where the money from that event was basically, most of it's going to go on transportation. This family has to travel all the way to Dallas, Texas, for him
hotels.
to have these surgeries and stuff. So, hey, even if it's only $5-10, anything helps. But I'm telling you, go back and watch that show, because when you see Bubba in the ring and just see how happy and joyful he is in there, it was awesome.
Yeah, well, and give a big shout out to Luke Gallows.
Yes,
He came in at the last second and come in and did a signing and meet and greet. But the main thing he did, he got in the ring with Bubba and just made a little boy's dream come through. Can't say enough good things about Luke Gallows. I was a fan of Luke Gallows, but not a huge fan. I'm a huge fan now. After
I have a lot of respect for him, just to seeing how he done that whole situation, and knowing the way everything happened. I don't want to get into all that, but
no,
for him to do what he did, and because he didn't have to,
no,
he done everything on, and most of it was his idea. That was what it was even greater about.
And I'm not going to mention the other stuff afterwards. I know he reached out to the family and treating them very good, and it's just not a one-time thing. It's going to be I think a relationship with Bubba. So I think I think it's awesome.
And one more shout out I want to give with that show is the ladies' man Mike King.
Yep.
Because we know what he done behind the scenes for that show to try to help Bubba, and
yep.
and that's not all he does. He does a lot for the community as well. But
yeah,
I mean, he deserves some credit for that, because he worked hard to make sure that happened.
Yep.
That Bubba got to meet one of the guys that basically made his dream come true. You know what I mean?
I agree 100%. And then we had another show on Sunday, and I tell you, this was a hell of a show too.
Yeah. Summit Pro, never back down. They operate Summit Pro's out of Greenfield, Indiana. If you haven't been to one of their shows, I think this was their fourth show, because I think it's supposed to been fifth, but one got snowed out.
Yep.
But I mean, every match was good. I mean, there wasn't a bad match.
Yeah, it was a really good show. One of the better shows we've been to. I mean, from first match to the last match, can't say enough good things about them. The camp's done a great promotion there. They're trying to build it. They started off not kind of small crowds in this building. But
this is our third time being there, and every time the crowd's been a little bit bigger.
Yeah. So, and the other big thing is they got a show coming up May 8th, and it's actually Mother's Day. And I think it's called Mother May I is the name of the show, and all mothers get in free for that show. And there's a wrestler under Del Patrick's, and you see
Alice Crowley.
You know how I am with names. And they're going to have a tables match. And I know you're going to say a guy and a girl. You haven't seen Alice Crowley. We've seen her wrestle men before. We've seen her wrestle women also. She's outstanding. I guarantee it'll be a great match. So definitely check out that show. And I think
And
it's
also at that show, you have Hillbilly Jed,
oh,
who's an awesome veteran. You
yep,
have Ace Perry and Kevin Giza, who's put on two phenomenal matches in a row, two time limit draws that just been great matches, and
well,
and they were different. That's what was great about it. We saw them a month ago,
yep,
and then they wrestled again this month, and it was a totally
yeah,
different match. What?
yeah, yeah. Great
And then
psychology, great
you
storytelling.
have Shooters Don't Die there. That they put that tag team match last week. It was a 3-way tag team.
It was really
That
good.
was they put on a heck of a match in
Yeah.
that.
But I want to go back real quick. Hillbilly Jet. Uh, to me, that was my favorite match of the night. And it was a guy we'd never seen. I think his last name's Cassidy, right? I think it's
Yes,
Bastard.
yes, Bastard Cassidy.
And we never seen him before. He's a big guy, younger guy. I tell you what, man, that match was outstanding. Really enjoyed that was my match of the night for me personally. But
Yes.
there wasn't a bad match on there. I mean, every match was really really good. So check people. It's on our YouTube and stuff.
And another match that wasn't on that show, but speaking of Crowley wrestling against men, couple, I think it was the last month or the month before.
I
But
can't remember.
you can find it on our YouTube page or on Facebook. Alice Crowley versus Sean Kemp.
Yeah.
You go watch that match, and then you'll be excited about seeing Crowley and
Del Patrick's.
Del Patrick's.
Yeah.
And Del Patrick's is another guy in Indiana that is good. Man, he's good. He's good in the ring, and he's good on the mic. I just think pretty much he's almost like he's pretty much a total package. Really, he can do it all.
Yeah, he likes that hardcore stuff pretty well. You know.
He likes doing the hardcore.
Yeah, but yeah, it was great. Both shows were really good. Check them out on our YouTube. I know you're making clips for. I think you already did Summit Pro.
I got Summit Pro broke down in the single matches on YouTube, or you can watch the full show on YouTube. I'll be putting the single matches on Facebook sometime this weekend.
Yeah,
Hopefully tonight. I went to a baseball game this week and took the evening off, and now I'm behind. But hey, the baseball game was worth it because we couldn't have picked a better night to go watch a baseball game weather-wise.
Yeah, and we'll give that a shout out. If you're in the Indiana area, the Fort Wayne Tin Caps. I know it's single A. You can say it's single A. I tell you, it was still real good baseball. They're the farm team for the San Diego Padres. They played the South Bend Cubs. It was opening day. It was a great game.
The Cubs had a pitcher. Remember, this is A-ball. The Cubs had a pitcher that was consistently throwing 99 miles an hour for strikes.
Yep.
And then he had a breaking pitch. If he gets that breaking pitch down where he can throw it for a strike, because he was throwing it at 87, 89 miles an hour.
I don't understand why they took him out, Chris.
No, I don't either. He gave up a hit and they took him out. It's like maybe just because it was early in the season and they want the ramping his arm up, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It didn't make sense. They went on to lose that game, and he hadn't give up any runs.
It didn't make sense to me that you have a perfect game in the 7th inning with only 80 pitches and you get taken out.
Well, but did you see the interview?
He wanted to come out, but still, that don't make sense to me.
I know.
It's just a different time. Because I mean, when I was growing up, you were in competition. You were going to go for it, and now it's everybody. It's just a totally different mindset now. Now pitchers are lucky if they pitch 5 innings. For some reason, I know it's supposed to be a wrestling show, but for some reason, the managers are in a hurry to get to their bullpen. Even if their bullpen sucks, it seems like they're in a hurry to get to them.
Oh, real quick, back to the wrestling. Of course, we didn't go to the show. We was out of town. But I did see the match of our guest was on last week on one of our shows. Luke Savage and
Savage Love.
Yeah,
Love and Luke Savage.
I seen the match on video. Really good, and also the crowd pop they got before the match and the crowd pop they got after the match. Yeah. They are really doing well. So
they're also in that WCW tag team tournament.
I think it's semifinals. Going to be Friday night.
Yeah. Night. I made a post about our interview tomorrow with JB, and Dalton got on there and told me to tell him that him and his punk partner are going to get beat. Then
Yeah.
Beav even made a comment, but I haven't got over there to see what Beav said yet.
Yeah. But yeah,
I'm
I know.
excited for that. I'm excited for that. Well, it'll be the day before this comes out, but I'm excited to finally get to sit down with Jay Beav. I think that's going to be a very entertaining conversation.
We might need to. When is their next Friday show? Is that going to be the is it going to be the 29th? Is it because this week's got 5 in it? This had 5 Fridays in it, so we'll be the.
I would say it's probably going to be the on the end of the month show.
Maybe we should think about going down there for that.
I'm down. It's Austin's birthday, but I'm down.
Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll find out and see when it's going to be. Make sure it's not going to be next weekend. It could be next week. I don't know. I don't think so though.
I would think they're going to make it on the big show. Probably is what I would think.
I would think.
Oh,
All right.
We'll talk to Joey tomorrow and
Yeah.
find out when it's going to be.
Yep. Yep. We will.
I'm always ready to go watch WCW. Other than when I'm not hurting too bad.
You better watch it. We might get took off the air.
Oh yeah, well yeah, that's true.
Saying that it's so good.
And gotta give a big shout out to Hollywood House.
Yes, he was a guest.
Coming on the show earlier this week. If you haven't watched that interview, you need to go watch it. I think it was a great conversation.
Hey, you guys don't understand. We could talk Hollywood House and me and Chris. We could talk for 5 hours. We could go for 5 hours. The same way with Mike King. So
only reason that interview got cut off what it did was because I had another show I had to go do.
Yep.
Or we would have talked at least probably another hour.
Yep.
But
I agree.
Well, is there anything else?
I think that's it.
Yeah, next, like I said, next week's Warrior Pro. I think that's all we have right now for next week.
Yep.
And we're starting to get full in May already.
Yep.
And I know we're already booked at a couple places in June, so it's.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm excited about June though. I'm not gonna lie. I'm excited to get back to AACW there in Kokomo and go check them out. I'm excited for that.
I want to see that new venue. I've seen some video. It looked really nice. That gym there, Carver Community Center there in Kokomo. So yeah, I'd like to check that out. And I mean that was I think that was the second place we went.
Yep.
After DCCW, so it's almost kind of like a home too. So yeah, so I want to be there for that. And yeah, it's a lot of interesting stuff coming up. So
and keep your stay on our social media. Keep your eyes out. We have some other things coming. We got some big things coming. So make sure you keep on our social media so you don't miss any of it. I know we're working on some stuff. So just everything getting it all together so we can release it.
Yep.
You have anything else for today?
No.
All right. Thanks everybody for watching. We will be back next Sunday at 9 a.m.
Everybody have a good weekend.